Alright, so this is going to be the start of another playlist that I'm going to make, which goes into details about weapons and why you want to do certain things and some other snippets that I will shove in there. But understand that when it comes to weapons, you will either get them as a natural drop, as in you'll see their physical form, or you will see them in this question mark special weapon form. Now, there is a way to unbox it and how to go about it, but also note that this video is gonna kind of hint at a way to control it, but if you're playing on North America PSO2, it's not a thing because of what they did in game, which might be a bit wonky and might fuck up the charm that you could get in game unless they fix it and code it in some way, shape, and form. But that is in its own separate video. In this video, I'll be talking about how to untech stuff, how to go about it. If you want to see details or if you want to go to a particular thing that might catch your interest, look in the description. There will be time skips. When you need to untech something, it's pretty much you go into the NPC so you can get rid of that special weapon icon or its symbol or whatever you call it. When you pick up an item, once again, from a quest or from a certain boss you just kill, and it's in that box form, you need to go to the shop area and talk to the item techer NPC. She'll be right next to Monica and Dudu, middle of the shop floor. You go to them, and then you got two ways to actually untech your weapon. You either got the first option, which is to identify the item, or the high grade identification. If you are playing on North America, the highest rarity you got over there at the moment is a 13 star. You will get more of the high rarities, 14 star, 15 stars in due time. However, if you're playing on the Japanese PSO2, when you actually try to untech a certain item, you'll see a different color for it. There's also a different animation when it comes to the 15 stars. I will have it on the screen right now. It's going to be like a rainbow shininess, but then there's a geyser popping out of it too. So that indicates that you just got a 15 star. When you go and untech it as well, you'll see that it's an orange question mark, not a rainbow question mark. If you got a rainbow question mark, this pretty much indicates this is a 13 star or a 14 star. This is a 15 star. And lastly, when it comes to the gray special weapon icon one, this one right here, it's going to be your 7 star to 12 star weapons. This is only for weapons. Units do not have a special box form like this, so you don't need to worry about it as much. So there's an easy way to actually select this if you're playing mouse and keyboard. If you hold on to, or if you hover over something that you want to untech, and then let's say you want to untech all this, what you can do is hold a shift key, click on the last item, and then it'll highlight all of them. If you want to choose specific ones you want to untech, for example, let's say I want to untech these three and not untech that one, I can pretty much hold the central key, left click on these three, and then I'll be able to select them. So let's say I want to untech these three. What I want to do is select these items and then click on select items down here or hit enter. And then it's going to ask you the desired attribute and the desired ability. Now, my rule of thumb is this. Always go for light element unless you know that the certain drop that you want or got dropped from a certain boss or you doing some research might need to be in a different element, then go for that instead, but most of the time people will untick it as light. And then this third option is pretty much a lucky rise, a Meseta fever, or an experience boost. You can choose whatever, you can read what it says. I would just leave it as it is. Don't worry about this second option as much. Click begin identification, and then it's going to take an X amount of Meseta so you can untech it, and you can see that I got a 14 star. Oh wow, that's actually at an 8 slot. I'm going to keep this one compared to the other two that I got. And then I got these as well. 8 slot and then a 7 slot. So I was looking through my storage and I don't think I actually have another 15 star that I dropped from the emergency quest I just did. But I'm going to experiment with these ones instead. So what I'm going to do is untech this one as a regular untech. So you can see that it's a 8 slot with all these abilities. Actually, this is pretty good. It's just I already made a 8 slot stinger and already got one like grinded out. So I'm gonna go over here and do a high one, and then we'll compare like the abilities on this one to the one that I just did. I really don't want to spend this much, but at the same time it's like, why not? Experimental and video purposes. Yeah, you can get a grade 2 of this, but it's like, do you really want to? You untech it, and you can see that it gave me an Ares Partisan. It did give me a power 5, which is hard to make, but when it comes to weapons, you got SAFs that can cut corners. So, not only that, the Lucky Rise apparently became a Lucky Rise 3. I wouldn't go for this, I would just go as a normal one. I wonder what this weapon is, though. Oh god, this is something I want. Oh god. This, the problem is, though, it's poison. Poison does not work with Now, the thing about, and once again, I gotta make a separate video talking about this shit. But, yeah, this is something I wanted, just not as a bow. But, shit. Yeah, the thing about ailments is that you want it with the right element, and granted that this can still give me a chance to poison something, it's not in the right element, because, like, darkness is linked with poison. For the light, it's supposed to be mirage, I think? It's called something else. But, yeah. I decided to toy around with this a bit more, and you'll see two weapons on the screen. One of them is the one that I decided to, do recording for with the high grade identification, and then the other one's a new one that I found in my storage, and this one I decided to use the normal identify item. And you'll see that the abilities are roughly the same thing, and they're both at 8 slots. When it comes to the abilities or the slot number, this is not determined by this thing over here. It's determined by when it drops on the field. This is RNG. You have no control over it, but there is a particular item that can give you a boost to it along with your rare drop rate stuff. It's just that this identification thing is not gonna push it. Now, you could use it just so you can try to get, you know, a slight chance, but I feel like this is kind of a gamble. And do you really want to spend 250,000 to just identify an item when you can just have roughly around the same sort of abilities by just identifying it? It's your call. If you want to toy around with it, experiment with it yourself, that is on you. I would just say stick with the first option instead, so you can just save your meseta. And note that when it comes to this second option too, if you are trying to get like good abilities on it, just note that this isn't what you want, especially on a 15 star, because 15 stars can give you S class abilities, and when you untech in it and it doesn't have those S class abilities, you will most likely tamper with it so it can get S class abilities. Not only that, if you want a certain ability or you want a certain stat on your weapon, you will manipulate it, you will toy around with it, and it's just that, do you really want to spend 200,000 on identifying it, or put that 200,000 meseta into affixing it? You might be wondering, why is this important to morph? Why do I need to know how to untech it? Why is this a thing? Why are you stressing over it? And it's because you get to choose the weapon element. Understand that if you get it as a natural drop as it is, you do not have any sort of control of what the element is. It's going to be RNG. So you can see that some of these weapons that I have, most of them look like they're in the light element, but then you see one that's in wind, lightning, and ice. What will happen if you get a natural drop, let's say a 15 star, that's not in the right element? You might have it as a lightning element weapon. It's not that bad because, once again, there will be different archetypes, different enemies weak to certain elements, but the reason why a lot of people would say you want to go for light is because you're fighting darkers. Those are the main enemies of the game, and most enemies are weak to light, in a sense. There's still a decent amount of other enemies, like enemies from Nibirius, enemies from the Dragon Plates, enemies from Coast. They are weak to certain elements, but overall, the main enemy is weak to light. There is a way to fix it though. If you go over to the player market and you type in the name of the attribute change, you can buy this. This is an AC scratch item. People can sell this. It's not that bad right now in the market. You can see that it's at 1,888,850, or 950, excuse me. So it's not that bad. You can use it while you grind it and then change the element, and then you can make it into a light. But to avoid this overall, there is a way to do it, but I won't explain it in this video. It will be in its own separate video because it goes into a history lesson talking about the perk that you can get from Zig and why this perk became a thing. This involves an old gun stash that a lot of players from the Japanese PSO2 had to deal with especially in terms of controlling the element. And then also they had another item with them, which is called a Monkey King bar. That thing influenced the number of abilities that can drop on your weapon and or units. Now this isn't a guarantee, but it gives a chance that it can give you a high slot compared to like the normal slot that you might get it at. And that concludes this video talking about how to untech weapons. Why is this a thing? Why would you want to consider making sure that it's in a box form compared to not being in a box form? What you can do to kind of fix it. If you got any question, comment, concerns, you can put it down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now this will be its own playlist. I already made a video talking about how to actually increase your grind value, because grind cap value, because that is a thing. You can look in the description, or once again, this will be in this playlist, so you'll find the video in that playlist. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.